Hey, welcome back to the channel. And in this video, it was going to start off actually as a bit of a rant and a complaining type of video. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to end up turning into a how to fix type video. So stay tuned and I'll explain. Okay, so this is my 2023 Triumph Tiger 1200 Rally Explorer, and I bought this in the fall, and it's got, I think, about just over 1,000 kilometers on it now. And the only real issue that I've had with it is to do with the TFT display. And it's not turned on right now. I haven't got the key, but I'll do that shortly. Up in the top corner here is supposed to be the ambient temperature. So whatever temperature is outside where you're riding is supposed to show up here. On this side you have the time and then a bunch of other stuff. In the same space, if you use the turn signals, the arrow for right turn, arrow for left turn kind of take the place of the temperature and the clock. However, on my bike, I have no temperature. Nothing shows there at all. Most of the time, unless you're turning, it's blank. So I have no temperature readout at all. And the other minor issue that I have is I cannot get this bike to display PSI, pounds per square inch, for the tire pressures. It will only show kilopascals or bar. Even though the manual says it's supposed to be able to show PSI, it doesn't show up in the units menu of the bike. So today, so I got this bike in October, and I noticed those problems as soon as I got it off the trailer here at home, and I'm 3 hours away from the dealer. And I called the dealer the very day and said, hey, I got a problem. Why can't I see the temperature, blah, blah, blah. Every bike that I've seen on video, the manual, it says it should be there. And they said, oh, have you turned it off in the dash, or you have to turn it on? Well, no, it's not a selectable option in the menu. It's supposed to be there all the time, and it isn't. So I said, well, they said, well, bring it back. And I said, well, I'm not coming back 3 hours now. The bike's going away for the winter because there was snow on the ground, and I'll bring it back in the spring. And so here we are. Today was the day that I took it back for its first service, 1,000 kilometers on the bike. I got down to I wrote it down 3 hours to the dealer. It had 988 kilometers on it when I got there. And so it was there to do the service and to fix my TFT display problems. So here's the rant part of the video. I booked a week ago for a 10 a.m. appointment. Okay, and I got there at 9:55 a.m. and the service guy says to me, oh, well, I'll get you in whenever we can. And I said, well, just a moment. I made an appointment a week ago. And he says, yeah, so did everybody else. You're in line. I'm like, excuse me? So that's how I get treated as a customer of Triumph? You buy a top-of-the-line bike and that's how I get treated? So that was the first strike. That was a problem right then and there. So anyway, I waited around until like 11:30. My bike's still sitting outside, and then I had a friend of mine who came and picked me up for some lunch/breakfast. So we went out, left the bike there, and I came back at 12:30, and the bike was no longer sitting in the parking lot. It was in the shop. And long story short, it gets to 1:30. They've done the service on the bike, the oil change and the gear, final drive gear oil, and check this, check that, whatever they do. And they can't fix the TFT. No idea, they say. We put it in the computer, they said. We don't know how to fix it, they said. We'll have to call Triumph, they said. And I said, well, you said you called Triumph in the fall, and they told you how to fix it. And they said, oh, no, we never called Triumph. So you lied to me. First and foremost, and so now I'm supposed to wait and take it back again for another 3 hour drive one way or the other. So that was not good. So they couldn't fix it. Could not fix the problem. Didn't know what it was. Oh, they said the PSI. You can't get PSI on the bike, on the display for the tire pressures, unless you change the whole dash display to miles per hour instead of kilometers per hour. Well, that makes no sense whatsoever. Anyway, so I get back here and I notice drips of oil on the ground, and I start checking, and there was freaking oil all over the place that they hadn't cleaned up from probably the oil filter. It was all over down here. It was dripping off these pipes down here. And then I wiped my hand on the bottom of the final drive and it came up covered in oil. So they hadn't cleaned that off properly either. So I called up the dealer principal and gave him a mouthful. And yeah, I was not pleased. I gave him every aspect of my service experience, which I clearly told him was the worst I'd ever experienced. I'm not going to name and shame the dealership because that's kind of not the purpose here. But, you know, the dealer principal was very apologetic, has told me he's going to refund the cost of my first service, which was about $340 Canadian. So yes, thank you very much. I will take that. And they will have to obviously rectify their service issues. And then I got back here and I thought, well, let me just check if I can find the ambient temperature sensor. So under this beak here, this, you see the front of the bike, I call this the beak. Underneath here, right there, that is the ambient temperature sensor. And you can't see the back side of this. It's kind of hidden. This is a bracket of some sort that the beak is mounted to. And so you can't see the back side of it. But what you can do is you can kind of hook your finger up inside there and you can feel around. And I could feel two things in here. I can feel a male plug off a wiring harness that isn't plugged into anything. And I can feel the back side of that sensor where there's a female plug that has nothing plugged into it. So it seems to me it just isn't plugged in. If you're a tech at a Triumph dealer or any dealer, don't you check the simple stuff first? So I'm guessing that's the problem. It seems too coincidental to me that I can feel connectors in there that are not connected, and then it wouldn't be the issue. So I think what I have to do to get this beak off to access the top side of this bracket is there's a bolt on that side. There's another bolt on this side here, and then there's one here at the front, and I'm guessing that will allow me to remove this beak and take a look. So that is the purpose of this video. How do we take that off? And if I plug that sensor in, will my TFT start working again? So let's take a look at that. All right, so I just turned the bike on. Everything's kind of booting up here. So I just wanted to show you before I plug that thing in. Now this is where it's supposed to show up and nothing shows up. But if you use the turn signal, you know, that flashing arrow is still functioning. So it's not like there's a dead spot in the corner of that TFT screen. Anyway, let's plug that in and see if that actually does anything to make a difference. All right, so I'm guessing these are 5mm. I think they're usually 5mm on the Triumphs. Can't fit a ratchet in there, so let's go back to a regular Allen key, I guess. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that there's only 3 Allen bolts holding this beak on. I guess I'll find that out shortly. Don't want to lose those. They all appear to be the same size. So let's see if this thing will come off. Moment of truth. There we are. It's off. Oh yeah, okay. Well, so as suspected, so that's the back of the sensor there. And it's focused. And this is the plug. So that, I'm pretty sure, is supposed to go in there. Let's get it. I'm going to take a photo for the dealer, and then I'll clip that on. Okay, so that goes that way around. that. Move that down a bit so that sits. It's kind of hard to push on there, so I wonder if they pushed it on when they built the bike and it didn't click. Like, sure click now. So before I put the beak back on, I'm going to come around to here and see if it makes any difference. Turn it on. So of course it could be, now that it's plugged in, you have to calibrate something with the computer. You never know. Ha! Solved. Happy days. So I am going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these for them going back in. Just because, you know, why wouldn't you? I don't need those things rattling loose and don't want to lose my beak. So the TFT display is fixed for the temperature sensor. And, you know, the dealer said to me yesterday, you know, our tech will eventually figure it out. He's one of the best. And they only have one tech there at the Triumph dealership, a Triumph tech anyway. And I'm not here to dispute whether or not that tech is a good tech or not a good tech. I guess everybody has a bad day or makes a mistake. But, you know, in my mind, you start with the simple stuff first. And I think it's all too easy these days, especially with these sort of high technology bikes, to jump straight to the computer and assume that it's something that has to be, you know, reflashed, or menu options have to be selected, or a module has failed or whatnot. So in this case, it was just a simple matter of plugging in the connector. So anyway, the good news is it's fixed, and I can ride with the joy of knowing I can look at the temperature, which may seem small, but one of those things for me, I really miss it when it's not there. So I'm happy. Take care. Thanks for watching.